That's accuse, accusation. Think about that. Go with them with the witness that has seen the crime. So in your mind, you might be like, well, this so-and-so came and, they sinned against me, but no one saw it. It would be a great example if it was Pastor Scott and he said some mean and hurtful things, which he never does. Seriously, he never does. But he said some mean and hurtful things, and I would be like, oh, you jerk, you need to apologize because that was just wrong. And he's like, I'm not going to apologize. And I'm like, no one saw it, so what do I do? And it's sitting to proving guilty. Think about that. Part of it is I got to believe God that he's going to take care of the situation. That God's seen it. He's seen the confrontation. He's going to deal with it. The other part is that I just can't bring accusation against someone because you're trying to win them over with love. That's what it's about. They will see us. They will know that we are Christians by our love. The third life attitude that you need to be a person winner is this. Center the conflict around community. This is another sticky issue that we often misinterpret and misuse. Verse 17 says, if he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to even listen to the church, treat him as you would a pagan or tax collector. Well, what does that mean? Hopefully, you're going to Matthew 18 and you're sticking by the code of saying, I'm going to go to this person by myself, clarify it up to make sure I know for certain that they've sinned against me or someone else. Then you'd bring witnesses along to say, yeah, I saw that. I want you to know that, we can restore you right now because we love you. It doesn't have to be this way. But I've seen that. They're not accused without proof. But then you get to this last part where he totally will not listen. Totally will not listen, even to the witnesses. So what do? Does that mean we parade them right up here in front of 300 people and say, look at the sinner? I mean, I don't know. Some people do that. In the olden days, they had come with this term. My mom used it often. I didn't really understood it until I've gotten a little bit older. But the term of excommunication. How many of you know that word or have heard it before? Yeah, it's an old-time word where you excommunicate someone from church. They've done something wrong. They won't admit to it. They won't get convicted for their sins. And I'm not bashing any church discipline at all. I want you to think through biblically what it means. Well, I think Jesus said it itself. He said, treat him as you would a pagan or tax collector. Well, how do you treat pagan or tax collectors? How are you supposed to treat non-Christians? Are you supposed to say, ooh, you're non-Christian, sinner, ick? Or are you supposed to love them to Christ? Are you supposed to invite them to church, invite them to small group, wash their car? I don't know. I threw that in. Your neighbor would love it. You're supposed to win them over for Christ, not shun them, not put them in a separate category. I think what this is talking about is not the excommunicated part, but the loss of influence instead of participation. The person loses their influence among the body of believers, like a tax collector or a pagan. They're not going to be like if someone came in here, no one of us knew, and they wanted to be an elder, we'd be like, no one knows him. We don't know if he's Christian. He doesn't have any influence within our body. I think that's where it's more going to. Part of that, though, is the whole point of winning your brother over to Christ. Even to the end, where it gets to the end to say, all of us say, not that they would come up here and say, we're not agreeing. We're going to agree to disagree. Even to the end, Jesus says you must treat them like a pagan or tax collector. You must win them over for Christ. Think about that. Even at that end, you're still trying to win them over. That is amazing. But it goes on. I read, I took the whole bulk of the passage, and the reason why is because I wanted you to know that the church, when it says the church, I don't think it means all 400 of us. I don't think we're supposed to get up and start lashing them or whatever in front of the stage and whatever it is. Because Jesus used several things saying, if 2 or 3 of you are together, then I am there with you. I'm thinking it's more of a small group. I'm thinking that it's more of people that may be deemed, you're able to go talk to this person. I don't know. Not to bring them up, not to shame them, but to gently restore them back to Christ. It says, those who fall in sin, those who are spiritual, go to them out of gentleness and love. Now, let's go on. And then the last part, what I love, is Peter. He is, he's the guy that always has to have a comment. I can just see him here being like, just a whiny voice. But Jesus, Lord, how many times should I forgive my brother who sins against me 7 times? Now, the reason why he said that is back in the day, they had this, wives' tale superstition about, you can only forgive them 7 times and then you can cut them off. Wouldn't that be great if that was your family? Like, you had no one over to your house at Thanksgiving. It would just be you and your wife. Maybe not even your wife. I don't know. My wife often says that family is usually people you normally do not hang around with. And that can be true. No, but Jesus corrected him and said, I'll tell you, it's not 7 times, but it's 77 times. Or even some translations, 77 times 7. It's just a lot of times. It's uncountable. Don't keep a record. You must always forgive. You confront this person for the 5th time. Man, you keep on parking on my side of the street. Will you stop that? And they said, I'm so sorry. I keep on forgetting. Please forgive me. What do you do? She's like, I don't want to forgive you, stupid. Or do you have to forgive them? Or do you want to forgive them? Because the whole point is to have an attitude of winning them over. Winning them over. I want you to think about this. What is your attitude like when you're confronting people? Or when they're confronting you? Or when you're dealing with people? Is it more of obligation? Oh, the youth pastor told me I have to do this. Or is it more of, man, I love these people. The best example of this is when I was in high school, I went to this youth group, and a kid invited me. It wasn't even my own youth group, and it was crazy. There was a few kids there, but you could tell that there was different cliques. And what I mean by cliques, there's the jocks who like to play a lot of sports, and there was the musicians, and there was, the people who dress funny and scary. And, and then, somewhat normal people. The cliques. And I went in, and I'm like, this is great. Everyone's interacting, they're talking to each other. And I turned to this kid I didn't even know. I was like, man, how long have you gone here? And he's like, about 6 months. And I'm like, what do you think of it? And he said, I love it. And I said, well, what do you think about everyone else? And he goes, I can't stand them. But guess what? I love them. I don't hang out with them. We don't talk at school. But when we come here, we love each other. We know we get in a lot of fights, but we deal with it. And we deal with the blows. I'm like, wow. That is what Christianity is about. They will know us by our love. By our love. Okay? Let's pray.